Welcome back to Grit Gym, guys. We're here with Rachel. Today we're going to be talking about health, exercise, nutrition, mindset, recovery. Health is your greatest resource in this life. You have to take care of it. If you don't take care of it, you're going to sacrifice everything else. You're going to sacrifice your relationships. You're going to sacrifice your money because you're going to have to spend money on your health later, and you're going to retract your ability to go out and make more money. And then you're also going to give up your time, the amount of time that you have on this planet, not just the experience, not just in the quantity amount of time, like your longevity, but the amount of time that you can push into this one time right here, this one life that you get right now. So that's what we come onto the show to talk to you about. That's some pretty heavy stuff, right? It's pretty heavy stuff. Anyway, so today we're talking about excuses, how you can start recognizing them. I think Rachel has some pretty interesting perspectives on this. Ways that you can really get down deep into recognizing them, because I think most of us, I don't know what your perspective is on this, but I think that most of us tend to fall to that we don't even know that we don't know that we're making the excuse that is happening, that is keeping us from the life that we want to live, and it's become so normal that that's just how it goes. And it's just it's acceptable. I don't know what the quotes are for, but acceptable.
Well, you can't do the best what your gut wrenching best if you don't know that you don't know.
That was pretty hardcore.
You're making excuses, if that makes sense.
And this is a pretty cool day to be talking about the excuses thing, because Rachel went down. She got really sick today, and it was a concerning moment. I did not like that very much at all. She got really, really dizzy. I think she's just maybe just a little bit sick or something, and she got really dizzy, couldn't see straight, maybe she has migraines, something's going on. All of a sudden she said, I can't see, and I was like, I don't like this. She couldn't talk to me, she couldn't do anything. During her workout, and I was like, what is going on? I don't like this at all. I was trying to stay calm, but I was like, all right, do we go to the hospital? What do we do? She's like, and I was like, do you want to go home or do you want to go to quick care? And she said, let me go home, work this off. And so went home, put an ice pack on her back, and which is really weird for this one because she's always cold. So this
I was freezing, but I was sweating like crazy.
Yeah, sweating like crazy, just sitting in a chair.
And I couldn't see.
But the no excuses thing, I was like, "Are you sure you want to do the show today? Are you sure you want to do the show today? Are you sure you want to do the show today?" And she's like, "I'm doing the show." So she's here, which is pretty cool.
Well, I mean, as long as I'm able to sit up and talk, then I should be fine.
As long as you're able to sit up and talk, you should be fine?
Yeah, that's all you really need to do the show.
I don't know. Well, I don't know. Maybe these shows are... What's up? What's up?
Does that matter?
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
I don't know much about tech devices, but I think that's okay.
Yeah.
No, I mean, I don't know about you. I find these shows very stressful to do. Maybe you're just more relaxed.
I mean, I don't find them, relaxing. But they're not, super stressful.
Yeah.
Once you're doing it.
A lot of the point I'm trying to make there is, showing up to a workout wasn't that big of a deal for her or I, right?
I'm just going to do that.
Okay, is it bugging you? So your OCD was going more crazy than my OCD? That's pretty rare.
Yeah.
But for us to show up to a workout, not that big of a deal. For us to eat healthy, not that big of a deal, right? We just kind of have made it part of our lives. But
it's something that you do every day.
It's something you improve upon every day. Yeah. But I mean, we do pretty decent comparatively to the general population, right? So it's not like we have to super discipline ourselves. It's not like the hardest, craziest, hard thing to get to the gym every day. We just wake up and we go. It's just accepted that that's what we do. This social media stuff, though, is not.
Mm-mm.
And some people nail the social media thing, but they don't nail the workouts. I think it's just a mindset thing, a lot like with the excuses. What do you think?
Well, you're building on good habits. So, obviously at first, going to work out every day or 3 or 4 times a day wasn't a good habit. But then
3 or 4 times a day? Workouts?
3 to 4 times a week.
Yeah, I got it.
But once you have that down, you can start doing the nutrition part.
Yeah,
and once you have the nutrition part down, you can start focusing on other things because the habits are becoming habits and not just it's kind of draining, when you're doing a new diet or something, or not that I do a new diet, but I'm just saying it takes a lot of discipline when you
make a change, though. It's hard. When you make a change to your diet, when you're like, all right, I've got to do X, Y, Z. Sometimes I'll go down in weight or up in weight, and trying to like gain more muscle or lose more fat or whatever I'm trying to do at the time, and it's a little difficult. Like it's not like because you have to allot a certain amount of energy to that. Like the way I just live on a daily basis, like I mean, I don't have to apply more energy to be able to do that. Mm-hmm. But as I expand and expand and expand, I'm able to do more because
like a month into it, it's becoming just natural. You don't have to think about it. You don't have to will yourself to do it. I mean, for some people, like getting out of bed in the morning.
But what if you don't take that first step?
Well, then it's gonna be a rough day.
And then what if you make the excuse before you make the first step to not even know the outcome?
Then you're not going to do it at all.
Yeah. So like to you, like in your perspective,
not going to do it well.
For your perspective, what are excuses just in general? Like how do you define them? What do you think about them?
Excuses, I mean, I make them all the time.
We all do.
Every day.
Yeah.
Everybody does. But like the thing is you have to start recognizing an excuse versus like an actual reason why you shouldn't do something. Like you shouldn't go out and like I don't know.
Don't use jump off a bridge. Don't say it. Don't say jump off a bridge.
It could be like or like get in a car accident, like go down the opposite side of the road. Like that's a definite like I shouldn't do that because.
Oh, you need something where you have good reason to not do it.
Some people make excuses like, I shouldn't go to the gym because I worked really hard today and I don't need to. I just, like things like that.
I gotcha.
Like justifications.
Yeah, kind of like the difference between a concern and a fear. Like if you
half
frame it as a concern, you might find out that there is no concern.
Yeah. Yeah, like Maury used to say, what did he say? Like, use the word concern instead of...
Use the word concern instead of worried, or use the word concern instead
annoyed.
Frustrated. Like, what do you what do you have to be frustrated about?
That way you have to figure out what is the concern.
Mm-hmm. If there is one, yeah. Like, what she's talking about is this guy that we went to, because when we first got in a relationship, I was like, we're going to go to marriage counseling and first thing, so that
not marriage
or whatever you want to call it. Anyway, we went to.
That'd be really weird to ask of someone the first like.
But that's what it did. That's what happened. Anyway, so I was like, for me, anything that I super value, I want to get a coach for. Like, if it's exercise, I get a coach. If it's nutrition, if it's important enough, I get a coach. If it's business, I get a coach. If it's relationships, I get a coach. If it's important, I go and I find somebody that's really, really good in that space, and I buy their product or I hire their service or whatever it is. And I did this when I didn't have I still don't have any. It's not like I have any money still. It's not like I'm very like we're still in like the low middle class, and maybe that's because I spend all our money's on these coaches. But like to me, like if it's important, why would you not have a coach to try to? So we went to this relationship coach, and we were talking about a fight that we had gotten into, and he's like, "Well, frame it as a concern. What are you concerned about?" And it all came back to it's like, well, there is no concern. We were actually sitting there arguing the same point and agreeing with each other, but we were trying to create an argument.
Yeah, I think that happens a lot as well. People just kind of get into the routine of arguing without realizing what's actually going on.
Well, I think there's like even an excuse in there somewhere. Like the excuse, like an excuse would still sound like a positive thing. No, my relationship is exactly where I want it to be. I don't need any. It's like I don't need a relationship coach. Well, if your relationship is exactly where you want it to be, then you better get a relationship coach because there's another level that you can get to. From my perspective.
Or your excuse can be the partner as well.
Like how?
Like you're not taking responsibility for certain things that are going wrong in the relationship, and you make the excuse the partner.
Like pointing the finger, like a complaint or instead of saying like what can I do for this relationship to help it be better.
Yeah. So making excuses, they kind of like help you in the moment, like you feel better because you can't blame yourself, but along the way it's
like the momentary feel good. like it's not really happiness. It's just a feel good for a few moments.
It's like a Band-Aid.
Yeah,
or not even a Band-Aid.
It's like taking a drug or getting drunk. Like it might make you feel good for about 4 hours, and when it wears off, you still feel like shit. And so you go and grab more, and then you go and grab more, and then it wears off, and you go and grab more.
Yeah.
But really, you just didn't take care of the problem. You didn't take care of the real issue, the real source of the whatever it is.
Yeah, you're becoming, like, when you make yourself into a victim, you are a victim. You become that. Like, I deal with a couple people on a daily basis that their whole entire, I don't know, personality is about putting themselves in that
category. That, oh, poor me.
Yeah. And it's so draining on me. Like, I have to just walk away constantly. As they're in the middle of a sentence, I walk away. Because I do not want to get sucked into that. I do not want to baby them. I don't want to give them any more of my time than they already have wasted. Because it's just, I can't do anything for you.
Yeah, they've made up their mind. They've made the plan to be the victim of the scenario, and they're going to prove themselves right however they can.
Because if I say, okay, yes, you're right, then I'm just putting you further and further into that category.
Well, I think it's all right to, like, in any communication, in any disagreement, in any of those communication things, I think it's really good to agree up front, because you don't want to fight them on their belief structure. Mm-hmm. So you have to create common ground.
You have to kind of
get through to them.
It.
So you have to agree up front, and then on the back end of that, then you can start layering your perspective so that they can actually understand you. Otherwise, you're just, no, I disagree. You create an argument. You create a competition. If you say, I agree with you, I understand what you're saying. I mean, I don't know if you want to say
asshole if you say anything other than what they are.
Yeah, or if you say, I understand, I agree with you, I think. Let me understand you more. What do you mean? Then you can get more. Then you can let them tell you till you understand. Then you can give your points.
I'm still like learning how to like communicate that, because I'm just trying to figure it out now, like what it means. But like to help someone else realize it, I'm like kind of slow on that.
I think that's really tough. The communication thing is tough anyway, especially when you're like. Your mind, like if you're like me anyway, like your mind's going a mile every single second. It's going 8 different miles in 8 different directions every second all the time. Mm-hmm. And you're trying to, so you just want to blurt out whatever comes to mind, but that doesn't usually go very well.
Well, I don't know if is it easier to recognize it in yourself? Well, I think it's easier to recognize it in other people, obviously.
Oh, yeah.
Obviously.
You mean the excuses and the victim mindset and the solution that, like, you are usually the last person to see the solution that you need to see. Someone else will see it a little easier. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Yeah, I totally agree. Because I think it's really hard. Like, the Mona Lisa can't look at the Mona Lisa. You can't see the picture when you are inside the frame. Yeah, when you are inside the frame, you cannot see it. I think about that with actors and actresses sometimes. They'll never be able to experience their film the way that other people experience their film.
No.
Because they'll see all the stuff. They'll be like, oh, okay.
They can watch it, but they can't really, like, be unbiased and kind of take themselves out of that.
Yeah, they'll be like, oh, I know it was behind that wall.
Yeah.
It was
that's
just a bunch of props. Yeah, they'll be able to see through everything, whereas everybody else is just experiencing the movie.
Mm-hmm. I forgot what I was going to say.
I want to know what it was.
I'll think of it.
Get it. Now.
Stop.
But yeah, when it comes to excuses, I really think that excuses are just a plan. I think most people probably layer. I mean, if you're anything like me, because this is what I do. When I notice my excuses, I'm layering excuses. Maybe not even layering them. I'm making up an excuse before the outcome actually happens. So I used to do the one with being late all the time. Like, I would come up with an excuse for what, like when I was in high school and I was late like all the time. Actually, I wasn't too bad in high school. In college, I was late like all the time, and I had a really bad habit after college being late. And I still like struggle with it a little bit. So I like say I'm going to be 30 minutes early anyway. But I will come up with the stupid ass excuse before I even leave for what, like, it would have taken way, like, which one takes more effort to, or more energy to make up the excuse and then actually be late, or to just be on time?
Well, yeah, if you know that you have to be out the door at a certain time to get there at a certain time, and you don't do that, then you don't have any excuse. Maybe if you do leave early and there's like a car accident.
Are you saying
that makes sense.
Our excuses are bullshit?
I'm not saying every excuse is bullshit. Like, I think things do happen. Like, say you walk out the door every single day and you're never late, and then there's a car accident in the middle of the street. Obviously, you're going to be late. That's not an excuse that you're like building in your head.
That's a situation where that person, everybody would believe that person. The person who comes in. We had this kid in high school that he had to have at least a dozen grandparents that came back to life multiple times, because that was always his excuse for missing school.
I don't know.
Had to go to my grandpa's funeral. Which grandpa? You got like a dozen grandpas. But I really think like excuses are just a plan. Like you've set up a plan in your head, and that's what you're going to see through. And it just takes tons and tons and tons of energy away from you.
Then you have to build up your. First, you have to realize it. You
mean, well, yeah, well, that's the thing. Like, I know where you're going. You gotta acknowledge, and then, well, I totally cut you off there. Keep going.
First, you have to, like, notice in your verbiage. There's a lot of certain like key words that come out when you're creating excuses.
Then what do you gotta do?
Then you have to make a plan to notice it and kind of change your language. And once you've done that, then you can make a plan to not
do it
make
anymore.
The excuse, yeah. And
so
find a way around it. Like I always say at work, if you don't know how to do something, ask somebody who does.
Yeah.
So that they can't make an excuse of why they didn't do anything. Like they constantly like come and they're like, well, I didn't know how to do it, so I didn't do it. I'm like, well, if you don't know, then ask someone. That's
such a younger crowd thing. I've never heard someone older than me say anything like that. I didn't know how to do it, so I didn't do it. We had an employee like that at Grit one time that he left a trash bag sitting up in front of the door. Don't ask me why the trash bag was there. I think that someone had probably went to take out the trash, had gathered up all the trash, put it by the door, and then forgot to actually take it to the trash. But this kid shows up at like 12:30 in the afternoon. He's there until 7. I was away for something. I had come back. I stop in, and the trash bag's sitting there. I'm like, hey, and I throw it away, and I'm like, hey, what's the trash bag sitting up there by the door? And he's like, oh, I didn't know what to do with it, so I just left it there. Like, it's trash, dude. Are you serious? Like, it's trash. Like, what kind of, like, I mean, I wanted to, like, that kid got fired, basically, right? Like, that was just insane. He got fired within probably, like, a month after that. I needed another reason to write him up, and then he was gone.
Well, yeah.
That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard in my life.
At that point, it's like, you're very far down, and, I mean, there's certain things that I do in, like, kind of like that, but, like, not to that extent. Like, you obviously know where to put the trash. It goes in the dumpster.
Why would you leave it right by the front door?
And, yeah, like, hide it, or...
Anyway.
I don't know.
But that's that solution-based stuff, that solution focus, right? Because if you have a solution focus, why would you be coming up with why would you be focused on the error? Like, I guess I should backtrack here. Is any time that you make an error, or an excuse, is that an error?
I don't want to say every time, but...
99% of the time that you make an excuse. I personally think all excuses are. I think there's always a solution.
Yeah.
And
I say to them, try not to come to me with problems. Try to come to me with a problem that you've solved. Like,
oh, I gotcha. Like don't come to me with a problem that you don't have a solution for.
Or like that you haven't tried to solve.
Yeah, then they'll solve it on their own.
Well, I want them to try to solve it. I don't want them to just write a list of problems and then come to me so that I can solve them for them, and they can easily do it too.
Right.
So at least try it. If you don't know how to do it, then come to me afterwards.
But then like, okay, so that's forward. So that's this way.
Thinking.
Like getting back to the source of the excuse. For me, the error is based on that fear of not being enough. Like, I'm making an excuse because I'm afraid that I'm not enough for whatever, like if I show up late, well, that wasn't enough. I didn't do my best. And it probably isn't enough, but you're afraid that you're enough, so you come up with the excuse. So that's how I look at it. Like, it's, to me, and every excuse is just an error. I don't know, I don't know, even with the social media thing, there's we were in a conversation with somebody the other day where they were like, or I was, you weren't, where they were I just don't know how to come up with the content for it. I don't know, I just don't know when I'd find time to get to the gym. There's another one I hear really often. Oh, I just when the kids move away, or when the kids leave the house, then I'll have time to go to the gym. I'm just like, that's stupid. You have to you'll never. That's just an excuse for that. I'm afraid I'm not enough, so I'm just going to keep on coming up with bullshit. And I think that's an error. And anytime that you have an error, you got to acknowledge it. And then you got to, just like what you were saying, you got to acknowledge it first. Otherwise, what are you going to do? And then you learn as much as you possibly can from it. And you got to move on.
Got to build on from there.
Yeah. So that's what I was trying to get to, is back to the source. How do you know when you're making an excuse? Is it just conscious awareness? Is there anything else that you can do? I don't know if you find anything else.
I think that a lot of people don't even realize that they do it.
That's what I mean. So how can they realize?
They gotta want to do better, obviously.
That's a good point.
They gotta not want to be the victim. You kind of get used to the people that are. They're so used to it. It's everything that they are. I have a certain person in mind where it's just I can, it's the extreme version.
Yeah.
And, to this person, they are just, I don't know. It's so hard to watch.
It's so ingrained in them.
It's so
I agree.
Ingrained.
It's
so
hard to watch. It's so hard to watch that.
It's I can't, I battle between feeling sorry for them and feeling like I want to punch them in the face.
Well, I mean, if you're struggling between that, my perspective on feeling sorry for somebody is that, the last person, I don't want anybody feeling pity on me. So, to me, feeling sorry for them isn't going to help them out at all.
The punch them in the face thing is, I don't even know if I were to say something to them about it.
How much would you guys like to see that? I'd like to see that.
It can happen.
I doubt it.
But I don't know if it's, if I were to, if they were to be faced with this and understand it completely, I don't think that they would want to change. And that's what, and they're bringing everybody around them down.
Yeah.
And I just cannot handle that. Because I work so hard to bring everybody up around them so that we can all have a good time, but then they constantly...
They sabotage it, yeah.
It's sabotage. It's self-sabotage. It's team sabotage. It's...
So why do you keep this person around?
I try not to as much as I can.
Okay. So...
Which is, an error on my part, because, I want to,
I mean, have you ever asked them,
That's an excuse as well, I guess.
Well, yeah, maybe, but if you think about it, have you, is there any time... Has making an excuse ever helped you get further in life, better in life? Has any excuse ever gotten you what you wanted?
Probably not.
Probably not? Or... Because I don't think it ever has.
I don't want to say...
one of my goals on all these videos, I want to call out every single excuse I've ever heard. I want to destroy every one of them for people. And I kind of love it when you...
the pregnant thing or...
Yeah. When you see those, just melt on people's faces when they realize that their excuse... I don't think it's...
It's the aha moment.
Yeah, when you see that on somebody, it's awesome. It's hard to see because, that's pretty painful for them to realize how much
they've been holding themselves back.
And how much they've missed out on life, and how much this and how much that. It's kind of sucks to watch, but at the same time, it's wonderful because you're seeing... You've
finally broken through.
Yeah, well, they did.
And, yeah, well, you've helped them, too.
I don't know if I did, but I just pointed a direction, and you guys go there. It's up to you whether you go or not.
See the light.
Yeah, but, I mean, when you do see that, when you see someone's, because usually there's, a fire in their eyes, they're so pissed off at you that they want to punch me in the face, and then there's,
until they realize you're trying to help them, and that there's truth to what you're saying.
Yeah.
it has to be their truth. It can't be just like, oh, this
That's
is
what
what
I mean.
Adam says, so
Yeah,
this
like,
is how it goes. It has to be like
That's what I
from
was about to say.
within.
That's why I was about to go deep with the whole
Sorry.
truth thing there. Like they're like your friend, like your acquaintance that is always the Debbie Downer, always playing the victim, always the martyr syndrome. That's their truth. Is that's where they are. Like to them, that is as true as this pin is black and orange. You know, but to you, that's not accurate. They're
I can
playing
see
that
it,
scenario
and
out.
I can see it how it affects other people. So.
Yeah, and I don't want to have that effect on people. I want to have like a really positive, inspiring, lift you up kind of effect. I don't want to have like a negative. Like I'll throw a joke out there that's kind of like punchy once in a while, but it's always like I wouldn't throw it out there if I didn't think the person could handle it. Which I'll withhold those on people that I don't think can handle them.
Sometimes I don't think you gauge that very well.
I don't know. I think people are tougher.
How often do your jokes go awesome?
Sometimes
they do.
What do you mean?
But sometimes it's just like,
what is this?
oh, you know what I mean.
She's talking about sometimes I'll throw a joke out there because I'm so dry. Then there's like
you don't have to say the joke.
There's like a 5 to 10 second pause where people are like, "Oh my God, should I laugh at that? Is he serious?" And then they realize that it's sarcasm, and they just bust. And then I'm like, "Okay, we can get along."
Okay.
It's great. It's a great listen.
It's a good way to say it.
Anyway, so we're coming up pretty close to 1 o'clock. Any other thoughts on excuses?
Opportunities and what?
Oh yeah, so there's speech. There's like we wanted to give some ways that we both found to kind of confront our own excuses that we make. And for me, like I've never found a better way than being extremely disciplined to conscious awareness, just being aware of what is coming out of your mouth and analyzing it. I don't like have you?
Well, you do that. Maury's really good at like. You want to be able to express your concerns and kind of figure them out.
Yeah, I completely agree. So what you guys missed there was Rachel was talking about like the clarity of your words and analyzing them. Do you want to kind of debrief what you just said? Because it was actually out for like 45 seconds to a minute, probably.
A minute? Okay. Okay. Well,
she basically said that like what we do for each other is that we'll not necessarily call out, but we'll kind of pay attention to each other's words so that we can get
help each other elaborate in like a more effective way.
So that we can get very clear on what we're actually saying.
Yeah.
And I'm a little bit more analytical.
Cynical.
I don't think that being like cynical is bad.
I don't think it's bad.
I think most people think, like, if you look up the definition of cynical, it's not necessarily a negative thing.
No.
It's
but
based
you're
on
far more cynical than I am.
It's based on like the word cynical means that you think that everybody is out with a selfish endeavor, and I totally think they are. But it does help me to help other people. Like I'm 100% selfish in everything that I do.
Sure.
Like it does help me to help other people. It does make me feel good to help other people. What was the one that I wrote down the other day? Oh, somebody said on a movie, they said, "Why do you care?" And the other guy goes, "Because it makes me feel good." It's like, yeah, like I care, like I care a great deal. I care an extreme amount about people. I've devoted my life to helping people with their health.
What does that ask for? 100% of what you want 100% of the time?
Yeah, that was one of the first lessons that we learned when we were doing that counseling thing. We were doing that relationship coach thing. Is ask for 100% of you.
To be clear.
Yeah, ask for 100% of what you want 100% of the time. If you're not getting what you want, ask for it.
That's kind of being like selfish, but in a good way.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, selfish is bad. It sounds bad.
Selfish.
Like,
yeah, people make it out to be like, "Oh, you're so selfish." It's like, goddamn right I am.
You're welcome.
Yeah. Like, thanks for noticing. Like everybody's selfish on some level. Like having kids, selfish. There is no way in the world that you having a kid does anything else for anybody else besides you.
It's not like you're trying to repopulate the earth.
No, it's a good thing. It's a good thing to be selfish. You go out and you earn money. People are like, "Oh, you're a greedy, selfish asshole." Like, you got bills to pay. You got people to feed. You're one of them.
Mm-hmm.
You want to be generous with your money back to the people. People say that to me, and I'm like, yeah, I'm a real scumbag for trying to sell people on health. Like, what do you think these videos are about? Like, trying to persuade people into living a healthier lifestyle. Like, I'm such a jerk. It's such a funny thing. So, like, being cynical, I don't think is necessarily a bad thing. That was my long-winded way around being cynical.
Your excuse for being cynical.
I am amazing.
See, that's not
at
a bad
justification.
Excuse. Yeah. See, that's not a bad excuse. It's just if you're holding yourself back and other people back.
What do you mean? Where was there an excuse?
Your excuse for being selfish.
And
that excuse kind of sounds bad in that.
I think that's a reason for being selfish.
Exactly, but it could be.
I've made it reasonable.
Exactly. Well, excuse and reason will kind of interchange in that way.
I suppose.
So, like, people could even look at that as an excuse. And I don't know.
No. Keep going. No. Keep going with that. No, that
it.
was fantastic. That was really good.
So people could look at that and they make an excuse for being an asshole.
Yeah.
But really, like, if you're an asshole's an asshole. If you're just trying to be an asshole, then
you mean like bend over?
No.
You mean like
no
better way to get to know yourself than to stick your head up your own ass?
They're gonna look at your justification for being cynical or being selfish.
Sure.
And they're gonna be like, well, I could be selfish, I could be an asshole, I can like no. If you have to have the right priorities in that, have the right.
But that's the same. That's the same as your victim friend, your victim acquaintance. Like they justify being a victim.
She's not at a level where she even understands that she's a victim.
Yeah.
If you were to tell her she's a victim, she'd be like, "Oh my god, what?" And then she'd go into this huge elaborate excuse and blah 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 blah.
She probably wouldn't even do that.
It's the same thing every single time.
Well, before she'd do that on day 2, at immediate disposal, she'd probably be like, she'd probably start crying and be like, "I can't believe you'd say something so mean."
But either way, you could talk about excuses forever.
You could. I think, I personally think excuses are just a plan for failure. I think you're just planning you're giving yourself an excuse for why you plan to screw up. And then you do screw up, so now you've got your planned excuse, and now you can give everybody your bullshit reason, your excuse for why it didn't work out. When really, you could have just gone ahead and been on time, you could have done the work, you could have shown up. It might take more discipline to change that, just like it takes discipline to change a dietary, or to change your go to the gym, or to change how much social media you're going to do, or to change how you're going to live your life. It's going to take some discipline. It's going to be very, very heavy up front, and then you're going to get stronger, and you're going to be able to carry that with you just like a habit, so you don't have to think about doing it.
Work at it every day.
I think so. That's what this sign is up here for. Work hard to improve every day. Focus on the present priority. Be a positive influence.
That's a wrap.
All right, guys, we're going to get out of here. Thank you for being here. We really appreciate it. If you guys can please take the time, hit share, send this out to everybody that you know. Obscurity is our biggest issue, and you guys, I say this a lot on the show, but my big goal in this life is to help 1 billion people. And 1 billion people, 1 billion seconds, I think, is over 30 years. So I'm going to need your help. And so Rachel's here helping me out. If you guys can take the time, please hit the share button. Send this out to everybody that you know. And I'm massive appreciation for you guys being here. It's really cool to have an audience while we do these. Pretty neat where technology is. But anyway, thanks for being here. We'll see you tomorrow. When do you come back on the show?
Tuesday.
Be back here on Tuesday to see more of this one. Anyway, thanks, guys. We'll see you soon.